Now you should hear me, yes? Yes. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's typical. So my microphone is disconnected. Okay, one more time. Welcome back to another episode of your weekly dose of Terraform. Well, my face is a little bit bigger than usual, but that's life. Um, so I will continue working on Terraform AWS modules and fixing some issues, maybe fixing some bugs. As usual, if you have any questions regarding, well, whatever I do, either during this stream or in general, or why I do this, don't hesitate to ask. It's good to have a conversation instead of me just blindly talking to my screen, because screen doesn't reply. I know some of you are watching from very different time zones, so I highly appreciate that you find time to do that. So I'm not going to take so much time talking about standard things, so let's just get started. And by the way, feel free to tell me if you hear me well or not well. Uh, I don't really know if it works this time. Uh, okay, so I'd like to mention that Terraform AWS Lambda module has received a lot of new attention from different people who are using it and contributing back. And first of all, thanks everyone for doing that. And I also want to ask for a little bit of help there, specifically related to pull requests where Python is involved. For those who don't know, what this Lambda module is doing, well, it's doing pretty much everything related to the deployment, building, packaging of Lambda package and, well, taking care of Lambda layers, Lambda functions, permissions, and all kind of things related to that. And the part related to Python, which is inside of package Py, is already a little bit too complicated. Few people contribute there. I don't have so much experience with different use cases for that, so please take a look into the PR, like into all PRs, and see if you find anything wrong, or maybe you have some suggestions. It's really, really important type of job. Right. So weekly TF once more is happening, and every week, well, not every week, of course, but I'm trying to publish it every Wednesday. Sometimes I have other things to do, or I just don't have enough content, which is also happening. So 95 issues were published, and yeah, feel free to subscribe. Weekly TF is there. Recently, GitHub has added this box to know who was past sponsors. And well, I didn't actually know that there were 43 people or organizations sponsoring myself via GitHub sponsors, and 42 current sponsors. So, which is pretty cool. So thanks everyone for supporting. If your company is using some of my projects, or you just want to support me, I will not kind of stop you from doing that. You can just go to github.com/sponsor/Anton Babenko, and here you are. You just find whatever you want and click select. Again, I really, really appreciate everyone for doing that. And 43 people were doing this in the past, and 42 are doing now. Oh my God, that's a lot. Almost 100 people in total. That's pretty cool. Well, I don't do pretty much anything else than open source nowadays. I have few consultancy gigs, but they're not so big or so kind of so long by duration. So that's what I do. And once more, this channel is happening, well, for I guess for more than 2 years now. Let me see. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago when I started it. And yeah, I'm gonna to continue it. So if you like this episode, you may like other episodes like Terraform live coding, for example. That's what I've had in the past. In the upcoming episode, I have already kind of agreed who is gonna to be featured and what kind of topic we're gonna to discuss. It's gonna to be Keith Morris, in about 1 month, we'll be talking about pipeline and CI/CD. And yeah, it's gonna to be awesome, because Kiev Motors is the guy who has been with infrastructure as code for very, very long time. So stay tuned, subscribe to channel, and yeah, and you will not miss that episode. Okay, yeah, this is another pull request in Lambda module, which is potentially complete, but I don't have enough experience using Python with poetry, and I looked into this PR a few times. I ran a couple things, but I just really would appreciate if somebody else can take a look into this pull request, go through examples, try to find if Patrick or a few other people missed something, and we can make it even better. So that's how open source work. It's not just me reviewing it and saying good or bad. I always need help by everyone. And the last thing before we go further and into writing Terraform code is Ukraine, right? Raise your hand if you don't know that I am from Ukraine. 1, 2, 3. No hands. Good. So everybody knew that I'm from Ukraine. That's good. Yeah, Ukraine still needs help by pretty much any means. So if you have possibility to donate, make a donation to the charity fund, I usually prefer that people donate to this one, because it's really one of the biggest and one of the most kind of established one. It has very good reputation. It's not like Red Cross or any other huge fund with thousands of employees who doesn't do anything. This one seems to be doing a pretty good job. So once more, if you have any spare money which you want to transfer, please do so, and link is in description as always. Yeah, thank you very much in advance. Okie dokie, let's move on to some coding. So a friend of mine recently reached out and said, like, he is going to be at reInvent. Well, I'm also going to be at reInvent, of course. And he will buy me a beer or coffee. Well, I don't drink beer, so it will be probably a good cup of coffee if I do something with this feature. Well, the thing is that overall, what a VPC module is, kind of the state of VPC module, put it this way. This module has been created very long time ago, literally 2017 or even before that. And it's one of the most popular module because it has a lot of functionality for the VPC. At some point, we will transition it to use latest features of Terraform, so it will be requiring maybe, let me think. Yeah, it will probably require Terraform 1.0 just for fun. Well, we can still make it work with 0.13 in most cases, but it's a good idea to just increase version and make major release. And the reason why I pointed specifically into this pull request is that this is an example of something what is very kind of cool to have for some people, but we need to be very, very careful with adding new functionality and then trying to backport it or actually introduce it into upcoming major release, which will happen at some point in the future, but I don't have any specific plans because it just works. Like literally, put it this way, VPC module does the job, it works. It can be improved constantly, it can be really rewritten to have even more functionality, but then we somehow need to take care of existing users and somehow ask them to migrate. Maintaining two versions of Terraform AWS modules is not going to happen because it's very, very complicated. And we don't have sufficient technologies or sufficient tools to help us with that. So that's why it's going to be... let's look into this pull request and I will try to figure out if it really makes sense to be merged. Maybe it's not really complicated. Maybe everybody who was writing all these comments, maybe they already thought about different use cases and maybe it will be just perfect. So yeah, once I do this one, then I have kind of lined up a few other pull requests in DynamoDB table, in CloudFront, in IAM, again in IAM, I guess, and then somewhere else and somewhere else. So we'll see how many of this I will be able to do during today. So let's get started with this one. First of all, I already have an assumption that this pull request is incomplete because it's taken care about very, very small subset of things. It's taken care about just subnet for public and for private, like 2 types of subnets. We actually have more than that. We have about 5 or 6 different types of subnets, so this functionality is already limited. But let's see. So let's read what this, who was it? I guess Andrew. So what Andrew was trying to do adds an option to override the values used by resource tag with key name with a list of string on public and private subnets. Yeah, right. Well, it's pretty common sense, I would say. The reason why we added this at the first place, right? Well, I'm trying to remember why I did this in 2017. Yeah, I think the goal was that it's important to have name tag at least descriptive as it can. So that's why it contains of some name plus availability zone where it is deployed. Yeah, that's it. Nowadays, I would probably write it a little bit more flexible so that it would receive format string, so where it would be like %s hyphen %s, and then make some sort of substitution of strings inside of it instead of hard coding it like VPC name and then availability zone name. But okay, this PR is taking care just about private subnets and public subnets. Well, so private subnets. Oh, maybe I have to increase font. It's a good idea. Yeah, I think it is a good idea. Okay, so private subnets. Well, one of use case where people want to have it, obviously, is for EKS, where they have 25,000 of subnets, and some of them will be used for one application, some will be used for another application, some will be used for EKS or whatever else. Yeah, probably a good idea, but like I already have some kind of hesitation that this is going to be really scalable, because I can imagine the situation where users would like to have more how to say, more parameters for subnets. For example, they would like to specify that application alpha is deployed only inside of this availability zone, but not in this availability zone. Currently, we don't support how to say uneven. Yeah, I think it's called uneven lengths of the subnet. So it means that you cannot say that this one will be created in one, but this one should be also created in the same one. So this is one of the change which we will eventually introduce in the break-in change, but currently it's not requested by pretty much anyone. Okay, let's move on. This solution also accommodates a case where a consumer would want to generate their own naming convention. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okie dokie, let's see, what is it? Split, trim, join, flatten. Well, missing just JSON encode and concat here. No, I'm OMG. No, what's going on here? Public app names. Well, I think this is a competition of how to impress people with knowledge of HCL. No, but really, what does this all mean? One more time. So we have a list of something, and then we are iterating through that, and we are iterating through that. I think that's... So we are trying to make a list of two permutations. So it will be alpha public like this one with one availability zone, and then alpha public with another availability zone. The way you can do this, if you have two lists, you can look into, I think set product is the function. Let me see. Well, I don't want to see it there, actually. Anyway, you can write it like this, but you can also look into just using set product, and that's it. This is too complicated here. Okie dokie, what's next here? Private subnet name and public subnet name. Looks cool. 3 people said that it looks good. I have run this change with Terraform project in my organization. That project has the characteristic explains in motivation and context above. The example is the same concept but reduced to simple storm and scrabble company specific information, blah blah blah. Well, looks good. Okay, so this is not really necessary to read. People are happy, good. Even more people are happy. It's also good. And it looks really fantastic. Well, I'm already excited to just try it because everybody is so excited. Oh my god. OMG detected. When is going to be merged? When this PR is going to be merged? I am really interested. Well, Daniel, I'm also interested. EKS subnet. Yeah, right. Okay, let's see. Let's run this guy here and see. So it's 816. Let's look into the code. Maybe we'll find something here. It's gonna to be VPC. No, PR 816. Ta-da! Yeah, cool. Okay, so it should be somewhere in examples, and I guess is it complete? So which example was modified? Yeah, it was incomplete. Well, complete example is a really big one. I remember that I was using complete example when I was developing it many years ago, but since that time it just grew so big. It's like so much magic is here. So private subnet names. This one, and this one. Good. Let's look into the code. The changes was private subnet names. Right, okay. So this is the solution. Well, let's look into this solution and try to figure out what is bad here, first of all. So first we are using this comparison. So when let's see. Yeah, so this is going to be really static, like, so we are going to fetch by count index from the list. Well, this is not needed, just to make it easier to read. So when we specify something, then we use elements from it. It's a little bit, how to say, not ugly, but yeah, okay, let's try to write it like in 0.13 syntax already. So what if we write try and we try to fetch this element. And if it fails, then we will try something else, which is default option. Cool. Something like this. I don't know how many brackets I should close here. So let's see. This is one. This is try. Yeah. So, okay. There are two errors in this thing. Try and lookup, they are not actually a replacement one to another. That's what I figured out during the last couple of years. Like try is really good and we should use it in most places, but there are still exceptions when it doesn't work this way. So anyway, here it will work because we are referring to something what is already well known, not something like resource IDs from, let's say, AWS. So if we would write something like this, AWS subnet dot private dot, let's say this one, or with some stars in between, try would bring us some surprises in some cases. But if we're using var, which is already well known kind of in advance by the time this resource is created, it's okay. So the trick here is element of this count index. So when this thing is empty, it will be, let's say it's not, what kind of default? Okay, it's list, it's default to empty list. When we are trying to fetch index which is out of range, it will take, it will just start from 0 and it will fetch it. So this expression will always result to something. That's not what we want. Instead, we want to, oops. Instead, we want to, oh yeah, yee. That's pretty cool. We want to, I don't know why my Punto switcher is not feeling well today. So this will produce an error because there is no such element. And if there is, then we just format the string and move on. And then later we override it with this one and with this one. Can we use, thinking loud. We already have private subnet tags. Can we expect, okay, this is like globally for all of them. Yeah, well, okay. I was just thinking that if we expand this private subnet tags here and subnet tags, okay, subnet tags are not used anywhere. Maybe we can use it actually. So private subnet tags. No, it's not gonna. It's like globally for all of them. Yeah, it's not really happening. Okay, good. So that's pretty much it. It's much shorter. Will it work? I have no clue, but let's try. Private subnet names. If it matches, 1, 2, 3, then we have these tags everywhere. What if it does not match? Let's say we have oh, that's nice. Let's put null here, which means that if it is null here, then we will use the default. No, it's not going to happen because it will be able to find this element. Well, how to use this thing by default? Well, it can be a bit too much to ask. But okay, let's try. Like usually what I do is when I see something like this, I just try to run something and then iterate from there, because it's much easier to work with fewer resources. Here it's trying to make a lot of things. Let me just disable not gateway because it's not needed. Will be just quicker with. Ooh, oh my god. Ah, that's VPC endpoints. That's why there are so many of them. Anyway, how many? 71 resources to add. Let's make it. Okay, so the change which will have to happen is also for the rest of things. So it's going to be this, and then we will call it DB subnet 1. Okay, let's call it. Oh, yeah. So DB subnet 1. If I want to use, let's say, instead of making 3 names here, can I use something like a default value? So if I say null, what do I expect? That's a good question. I don't expect to have empty name, first of all, right? Yeah, I think that's really important that I don't have empty name, but it will have to be a standard name. Okay, let's see. It will have to be the name. So when we can find this guy and this guy is not null, yeah, it's so magical. Okay, no problem. Let's leave it like this for now and just require all of this to be present. If user don't specify the name, then it will be using default. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. So this one is elasticache subnet 1. This one is Redshift subnet. Subnet 1. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Something is wrong with my Punta switcher today. 2, 3. Okay, and for intra subnets, what if we specify this as an empty? Then yeah, then default will be used. That's fine. Public subnets omitted to show default name generation. Yeah, something like this. Generation for all 3 subnets. Okay. So it's still making VPC endpoints. I probably should have disabled VPC endpoints here too, but I forgot. Oh, and nevertheless, it's there. Okie dokie, let's see. Just in state, it's subnet 1. Cool. So private subnet 1. There's going to be subnet 1, subnet 2, and subnet 3. Fantastic. So now let's see, where was it? Right, so if I now remove this code completely and run it again, what? Ah, yeah, of course, I didn't add anything else yet. So. So it's trying to remove tag from the third one and use the default one. That's nice. That's nice. Ah, right, okay. Or if I want to use no. No, that's strange. That's strange. What if I want to use I mean, what if I want to I don't know why I fall from the chair, but I don't want to use tag on the first one. So I would like to use default one here. How to do it? I should make something like this to really tell that I want to use default one for the first one. Yeah, that's something what I need to work on now. So it's gonna to be 2 and 3, like this. So let's see what changes should be in the code. So if this guy exists and it is empty, well, how to write? Use this thing if it is not equal to null. That's sometimes I'm missing some sort of function here just to say panic and then move on to the next execution. But there is no way to erase panic. So I need to think about this. So when this thing is not null, then use it, right? Or else use format, right? Well, it's a bit uglier than I expected it to be, but maybe if I write it in one line, it's not so ugly. Let's see. That's the idea. No, it's still ugly. Doesn't help. Okay, how to... Okay, let's put it this way. So that's how I often write code. Like I just add things to the top just to understand what's gonna to survive. So once more, if this one is null, we will... No, if it's not null, then we use it. So what if we use something like let's say we can use what we can use. We can use core Leske to find, let's say, from this value, from this, no. Well, it's already working, and it's already working the way it is. I'm trying to add use case where I want to use the default structure for the first or for not last element. So that's exactly where I want to use format. So that's like the thing. I can drop it like this, but well, I can drop it. You're right. Why I'm doing this? It's over engineering. Screw this stuff. People will be happier this way. Good. So no need to do this. Try this thing completely. So try to use it if it's there. Yeah, that's it. Try to use it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, one more time. If I run this code, sorry, this is not needed yet. This was a question, not question, but suggestion from Dumitru. Okay, so third one will be using the default one. Good. Okay, let's add the same thing for the rest. For public database Elasticache. Names. Public subnet names. Oh my god, there is also outpost. What is panic? Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. On there is no panic, but the reason what I wanted to have is that, like, imagine the condition. Let's say there is a value which doesn't exist, but you write it try, and then you are mentioning something there which is like gonna to be used in this order. So if this exists, then it will be used. But what I want to have is when this exists and the value is not null, for example, is not null, then I want to skip this whole thing and proceed to the next operation, which is in this case, for example, true. So I want to write something like this, then panic, else it's going to be false. So what it means is that even if this value is not null, I want it to panic so that the whole this first condition is evaluated as an error, and then try will continue and will use this second value, which is true. There is no panic, so that's the problem. You can you no, you cannot raise it in other ways. I don't know at least how you can do this. So that's my explanation about panic. Okie dokie, let's see if there is another place to put. So private subnet. Public subnet suffix. Yeah, well, that's a bit shorter, but yeah, it can be improved constantly. I don't want to spend time on this, really. Okay, let's see. This one is a little bit different. Why this is different? It's a good question. Let's call it outpost. Subnet names. It's going to be format of outpost AZs. Now I'm writing it in one line. I don't know why. I think it was cool with 2 lines, but okay. Okay. What else? So subnet database. Database. And no, it's okay. So database subnet names. What else is here? Subnet group. Well, subnet group. Who cares about name for the subnet group? Yeah, not me. Okay, Redshift. We should change it. Let's see. Redshift. So, and one more is Elasticache. Elasticache. Elasticache, yes. And okay, let's drop this one. And one more is for infra. No, for intra subnet, sorry, not infra. That's intra. Ult. Yeah, that's it. Right. Let's see. Now we need to define all of these subnet names. Suffix. No, it should be on public if empty name tag are generated. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's move on. 2, 3. So this one is for outpost. And this one is for intra. And this one is for database. Redshift and Elasticache. That's it. Okay, my microphone just disconnected, but I think it's still working. Okay, so Redshift, database, intra, and outpost. So now I expect to have a bit more tags for 3 for Redshift, 2 for Elasticache, and 1 for database. So 6 in total. Is it right? So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Right. Why this is not touched? Because it already has good default values. Yeah. Okay, good. So Yeah, right. Okay, let's save it. So that's it. I think it's pretty boring, actually. Like looking into future, how this can be kind of updated. Well, we actually had this in some other modules, I think in Lambda, where we have, no, not in Lambda. Well, I forgot. Somewhere we can define the format and then do substitution of elements within it. But it's too hard to do here, so let's leave it like this. Okay, any other things which can be improved in this regards? Let's see, if we're talking just about tags, uh, um, yeah, no, I don't think there is anything else what can be just getting latest one and run. Mm, yeah, module not installed. Well, I know there is actually a PR about this fix inside of pre-commit Terraform. I think somebody opened yesterday or today. Um, okay, that's it. That was quick but boring. Okay, anyway, let's move on and let's run. No, let's run. What I'm doing? Why I cannot? Well, if I type escape, strange. Yeah. Uh, okay, so if I now run, let's say git diff just to make sure that it's rendering only these changes added. A bunch of yeah, bunch of inputs added. So that's it. Added support for custom subnet names for all types of subnets. That's it. Good. And destroy. Let's destroy this one and let's see what exactly I have changed in the browser, because it's much easier to see here. So yeah, edit all of these outputs and added things here. It's important that I don't break this one. So format, name, public subnet, private subnet. It sometimes happens when people copy paste. I see this from time to time, but I don't want to make this mistake here now. So outpost, database, Redshift, Elastic Cache, and the last one is Intra. That's it. Well, I think that's it for this pull request. And it's actually working. Fantastic. So let's see, squash and merge. Add custom subnet. Wait. Add custom subnet names. Yeah, well, pretty good name. Merge attempt failed. Try again. So Here we go. Thank you for the PR. I don't know why I put commas everywhere. Probably this is because we do this in Russian and yeah, in Ukrainian too. Okay, let's move on. I was writing this for a bit more time than I expected, to be honest. Okay, so this one is add DynamoDB table name to outputs. So name of DynamoDB table is definitely not chore. Chore means that no release will be, or chore or horror or whatever, means that no release will be triggered. That's not exactly what I want. So, so this person is adding name output to the outputs. So let's look into the code. If I go to DynamoDB table examples, let's say auto scaling, I don't have anything created yet, but if I look into the code here and this is, no, this is not, I need table, DynamoDB table, no, table. Where is my table? Well, table, this one. What? Right, so this is the resource and user is asking for the name. Well, name is exactly as ID. So if we already have an ID inside of outputs, there is nothing else to do. And we already have an ID. So ID is the same as name, problem solved. Go to the issue and say to the user that how it's called. It's called DynamoDB table ID is the name of the output. Here we say that is the same as name, so there is no need to add. That's it. Anything extra? Close. Okay, this is fast. It took me 2 minutes. I wish everything takes so quick. So is it possible to add CloudFront aliases to outputs? Well, how to figure out? Take a look into this guy, go into documentation, type it in the search, type it here, and make sure that you click space after that one to find it. It's really important. And then open here, scroll. No, it was too much. Here it should be aliases. If I see aliases inside of attributes, then it should be added. Do we see aliases here? 1, 2, 3. No. Go back to the issue, and this is good, by the way. And my use case is adding CNAME records about CloudFront distribution to DNS provider like Cloudflare. I can take distribution name from but cannot take aliases where name should point to. Right, so the thing is that we are not returning aliases because they are not part of the attributes of the resource itself. Well, according to documentation. Sometimes it's wrong, but I believe that in this case it's okay. So what I'm gonna to say is that there is no attribute for the aliases in the resource. So that's first thing. And the pattern which we are actually recommending people to use everywhere is to use data source. You should use data source because that's where you have all of the information. And the reason was why this is better is because sometimes, like in CloudFront as well, there is field like status or last changes. If we put all of this information just for fun inside of outputs of the module, then they will change way too frequently. In some places, we don't even have to have status because it can change from deployed to updating, or from updating to deploy usually on the next execution. So that's why it's better to use data source. Where was it? You should use AWS CloudFront distribution data source to get information about aliases. That's it. Does it look good? Well, maybe it's not polite, so I need to say something good. There is no attribute. You should use this. Well, I don't know what polite to say, so close this issue. I mean, polite is usually like, oh, thanks a lot for opening this issue, but in fact, well, that's it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Explicitly, I don't know if it's already merged, why I am looking at this one. Missing partition. Let's see. Okay, so this is probably related. Missing partition and account ID locals in multiple submodules. What? So this means that examples should fail. And there should be a lot of people liking this issue and these improvements. Doesn't look so. Okay, let's see what exactly was the fix. Add missing locals. Please take a look at line 81. So some people are changing it. Interesting. 20 lines changed in such popular module. What exactly has happened? So add missing locals in assumable role. Changing examples is fine, but I'm also interested in the module change. What exactly has happened here? What? What is this magic? Data partition, current partition. And then using it here. That's a pretty creative way. So we have AWS account ID here. And account ID here. Well, I'm a bit lost. Did it work before? That's what I'm not sure I understand. But usually when I see such big change and no discussion, like no complaints, no support by everyone, I think something is wrong with the PR. Because this thing, so that you understand, guys, I can show you some statistics because it's kind of interesting. If I look into traffic, so this things alone has been cloned 117 times, no, 117,000 a day. So usually there are people who see this and they say like, oh, this is good or this is bad. But if there is no attention or no like feedback on this one, I really don't think that this is an issue. Again, I can spend hours looking into details, and that's maybe the problem. But I really rely on the community who will understand what's going on, and especially here. I don't understand your comments. Well, I don't understand what's going on here at all, to be honest. So time to close this one and move on. Really, it's very hard, at least for me, to pay attention to all 49 modules and learn all of them by heart. So let's see, this is another one, ability to specify CloudWatch Log group name for VPC Flow logs. Let's see, well, I don't know the name of this user, but I think he is pretty active, so thanks for your contribution here too. We can set a suffix to CloudWatch Log group for VPC Flow logs. I believe that this is new functionality because previously we had some log group name which was really kind of obfuscated. Right. Okay, so let's see what exactly, if I run update branch and then click files changed, just to see what's new here. So specifies the name of the suffix, and then this suffix is somehow by default it's using VPC ID name, or it can use this one. Okay, looks cool. And we have prefix. Oh my god, we have prefix and we have suffix. That's creative. Okay, let's let's see what, like, first of all, does it make sense? Probably yes. Can I run this easily? Yeah, I probably well, it's a bit strange. We have log group name prefix and suffix, but there is nothing in between. Why cannot we just use this guy for everything? That's just my kind of question number one. Well, is it a good idea to even use it? So we have prefix, which is, let's see, it was 847. 47. So 847. If we go to VPC Flow logs, probably that's place where a lot of this is happening. And here we look into prefix. There is no mentioning of this thing, so we can look into, oops. All right, so this is where the name prefix and we have name suffix. Instead of all of this, we can use this one, or what if we just ask user instead of suffix, but we just ask for the whole log group name, and then user will specify no, it has to be, I think this is like a requirement that it starts with this one, but then it can be blah blah blah, and then blah blah blah, and then again blah blah blah. But yeah, but the suffix is something what user can control, at all. So this one is really important as far as I remember. Okay, let's forget this thing. So yeah, probably suffix is good. Specify the suffix and go to example. Also, when I see that, it's kind of my own observation. When I see that pull request is created from the branch called patch, it means that user was using GitHub UI. So really going in UI and writing Terraform code is not very optimal, because you will have to do a lot of commits, or you will have to pay attention to a lot of formatting and so on. So it's really not made for that. It's good for making very small spelling mistakes correction, but not for writing Terraform code. So I often have to do a lot of work after patch 1, patch 2, patch 3 branch has been used. Okay, so if I go to VPC Flow logs and I run init upgrade, because I haven't been using this in probably a couple of years. And now if I run apply, let's see, again, I need to go to examples. I need to find I need to find some nice example. Yeah, here is it. So I don't need to take care of the rest of examples. I'm gonna to use just this one. The rest of resources is fine. I'm not gonna to use them right now. I just want to make a real small case. So here, suffix, and what was it? Prefix. So I want to see if I can use AWS VPC Flow. Oh my god. Oh my god, I am lost. I'm gonna to use maybe AWS, but I can say my amazing VPC Flow log logs. That's how it should be written. And then suffix, and I think these two. And then suffix will be my. See you next time, Dimitri. So, and the name suffix will be called my, well, my what? Well, my test. Really creative. Okay, that's it. So if I now run this test, maybe I need to do something in outputs, of course. Let's just close. I don't care about outputs right now, so it's fine. Anyway, 14 resources will be created, including, where was subnet? Here is VPC Flow log, log destination. What? Ah, no, it's here. It's somewhere here, and then so here is it. CloudWatch Log group will use this thing. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's see, 14 resources to add. Should be pretty quick. Well, should be pretty quick, but for some reason we're making internet gateway and real resources. Okay, and now let's look into Terraform state and find what was it? Logs. Logs is not here. Oh my god, where my logs are. My test. No, it's not here. Why? So did I use something wrong here? Maybe I don't have to specify. Right, I need to create flow log group probably. Yeah, probably need this example instead. But okay, let's see. Enable flow log, yes, but create flow log. Okay, so this is a little bit better example, I guess. Creating role, creating log group. Destination probably should be like this. So then no IRN, no this and this, yeah. Okay. Probably this is correct test case. Yeah, because it should be created automatically. Okay, so here I should see my here, where is this? Log group name. Yes, this is it. Okay, fantastic. Let's see if it works. So now if I go to the state and bam, and logs, good. So, but this is log group name. Here is it. So AWS Flow Log will be using this log group name. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, well, that's pretty good. One more thing, like related to the improvement of this one, is that sometimes I don't know if prefix contains slash at the end or not. So sometimes I use trim suffix function to cut last backslash. Well, here it's probably not needed because user will provide this correctly himself. Okay, that's it. So then I can just destroy. I can add these two things to this example instead. Okay, let's uncomment all of this. So overall it's like this. So my amazing VPC Flow logs will be stored here, and we're going to create all of this. So it's good. And then inside of outputs, I also uncomment all of this. Yeah, that's so. This is the only change which I add. Pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm gonna to push this change, and it will be just working as expected. I don't think there is anything else what I need to do on this pull request really, because it's, well, fixed example, and that's gonna to be it. Let's see here. Again, it's important to check in the browser before, because sometimes there are some surprises during commit and push. But yeah, I don't see anything bad here. Is it feature? Is it backward compatible? Yes, it is, right? That's the whole point. That when things are yeah, that's okay. So when it's empty, then it's using VPC ID. That was the default behavior before. Good. Okay, that's it for now. Let's merge this guy after it's done. And yeah, I think that's it for today, actually. I don't think I have time to look into anything else, really, because it was already a bit longer than usually. Once more, thanks everyone for attending. I hope you learned something. Yeah, this is me again. And yeah, see you around. In a couple of weeks, I will be in Barcelona. Well, in 10 days, I will be in Barcelona at DevOps Barcelona conference. So hopefully see some of you there. And if not there, then see you at reInvent or maybe other places. Bye.